I was working from Monday to Sunday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. So I thought I had a mini burnout.
Oh, right. Okay.
Mini burnout then at, I think I was 27. And then the pandemic hits, right? We didn't have much time to react. I actually called the embassy and just make sure, can I leave after 12?
From Value Invest Asia, this is the Asian Mavericks. We explore the hidden stories of successful founders, business leaders, and investors in Asia. Here's your host, Stanley Lim.
Welcome back to a new season of the Asian Mavericks. We kick off this season with an interview with Mr. Hsing, the Managing Director of Hock Tire, which is part of HT Group. Hock Tire is actually one of the largest service centers in Johor and is a part of HT Group, which also distribute many of the automotive components here in Malaysia. HT Group is actually founded by Hsing's grandfather way back in the 1950s. This is a very fascinating company because as a family business, they are actually run by 7 families today, and more than 20 odd family members are working together in the family. I talked to him about how he came about joining into the family business and how the company is being structured so that they can work in harmonious and cooperative manner. This is so amazing because I get to see behind the curtain on how they run a successful family business. Let's all dive into it right now. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. And I'm very privileged to be able to talk to Mr. Hsing, the MD of Hock Tire, part of HT Group. Welcome, Hsing.
Thank you. Morning, Stanley. Thank you for inviting. I think the pleasure is mine.
I'm so excited to dive into your story, even your personal story, and also how you are running the business right now. But let's give us a little bit of backdrop on yourself. Can you tell us about your family when you're growing up? How's it like? How's family life for you?
Okay, so I was born in Singapore, and then when I was 3 days old, right, my parents brought me in because they are all based in Malaysia. So I was born a Singaporean, raised as a Singaporean in JB, Johor Bahru, a small town in Malaysia. And I grew up in a very big family, and very typical kampong style where a few families stay in one house. So I stayed with my uncle, my grandparents, my uncle, and my own family. So growing up, it's really every day, full of running around. Although we don't stay in a kampong, but the house is big enough to house the few families, right? So it's very interesting. So I basically grew up with my siblings and my cousins as well.
Right, okay. And were there always siblings rivalry? How's it with so many people in the house?
I think rivalry, not really, because I'm much younger than my siblings. So my sister is like 5 years older than me. So I would say I'm probably the one that's most pampered in the family because I'm the youngest. Yeah. But of course we do fight. Once in a while the boys get rowdy and all that. I think that's very normal. But growing up in that family, I think interesting is we do a lot of things together.
Okay, maybe for example?
Or we need to, wake up, queue up for the toilet. We need to clean the house. We do have a helper, but we are, taught from young that we need to do most of the things ourselves, right, even at a very young age. So I do help out in the kitchen. I think that also, that is very interesting for a guy from young, right? I was put in the kitchen a lot with my grandmother. Yeah, and I do follow my grandfather around when I was very young. Whenever I have school holidays and all that, right?
Okay.
I'll follow him to the office or to the shops.
And it seems that, the family, even the extended family, is all surrounded together and also go to business together. And maybe can you tell us a little bit about the history of HT Group, how they came to be? And by the time when you were young, what's your vantage point from there? How do you view the business at that time?
So how it started, it was founded by my late grandfather in 1953. So we're like 70 plus years now. He opened a small tire shop in JB Old Town. And it was started because he was working for his uncle who runs another tire shop somewhere. So he learned his ropes from there, and then decided to open a shop himself. So that time he was still commuting through Singapore and Malaysia. So his family, my grandmother, my father, they are all in Singapore, and he travels every day to work, just like what I'm doing now. Yes. So he runs the business in Johor Bahru. Then from a small tire shop, I think eventually he grew the business to a few more shops in Johor. Then decided to invest in a headquarter which is in Jalan Niheng now. Then he started to do some distribution as well. So I think the market grew and he saw some opportunity there, and then he decided that he wants to do more than just being a retailer. Then in 1997, he passed away, and my father, which is the eldest son, took over the management of the business. Then from there, we moved to our current HQ, which is on Jalan Tampoi, and we grow from there. And then now it's the third generation. Recently also we have expanded to a few more countries in Southeast Asia now.
Maybe you take me through a little bit. You say when your grandfather, when he was working, were all your fathers and uncle already working for him at the time?
Also, my father graduated from college and he immediately went to help my father. So he was the first family member to join the family business. Then after that, my second uncle and so forth, right, they all actually had to work outside first before joining the company.
And you went from retail tires to becoming distributors as well. Did you hear stories on what was some of their struggles during that time, or you never really feel that your father was in a lot of stress during that period, or what do you see?
I do hear stories that how my uncles and my father, they struggled during the 1997
crisis.
Was it the Asian
financial
crisis?
Okay.
Yeah. So it was, I think, during 1996, my father gathered all his siblings back and had a meeting. That was the story he told me. So they had a meeting and said, what's the way forward now? What do we want to do? And I think they reached a consensus that they really want to grow the company and to preserve the legacy that my grandfather has left them. They decided to invest in the HQ that we're currently in. So it was the first time I think they went into a lot of leverage, invested much more than what my grandfather left them. And I think few months down the road, the crisis hit. So they were struggling for a bit.
The massive expansion came just before the crisis.
Right. Just before So I think everyone took a very massive pay cut just to make sure we were surviving. And we were in the distribution business, and the impact was very big. Yeah. We had to finance our receivables, and then, you get tire shops dragging our payments and all that. Yeah. Wow. So it's quite tough for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you were young, was it already like a requirement, or do they hinted that you will be joining the business when you grow up, or was there no pressure?
Actually, no. Yeah. I can answer this quite straightforward. It's a no. We don't. When we grow up, we were not told that you are expected to come back to run the business.
Even your eldest brother.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah. I think even my uncles, maybe the younger uncles, they weren't really expected to come back. It was only during the very late stages of my grandfather's life, right? He requested for my uncles to come back. But I think right from the start, even from my grandfather's time, right, he thinks education is very important. So all my uncles were all put through university. So it was not easy during that time, I must say. Yeah.
I see. And for yourself, what's your feeling on it? Like when you were young, do you aspire to work in a company, or you have other ambition?
I don't know. I just feel like it is very interesting to run a business. We always attend their annual dinner, right? So it's very interesting to see all the employees back, being so friendly to you, wanting to talk to you and all that. So those events, right, are very interesting. And my grandfather makes it a point, right, whenever there is a company event, right, all the staff's family are invited to the event as well. And we mingled with them. So it really feels like a big family. But back to your question, when I was young, I don't feel the need that I need to come back to this family business. Of course, I think I'm very much influenced by my exposure, because always on dinner table, we are talking about the business. I overhear my father talking about business. Yeah. So on weekends or school holidays, I will go back with them because nobody's looking after me at home, right? So I have to follow him. So I'm always stuck in the office or the shop when I was young. Yeah.
Do you need to help out in the shop, like change some tires or do some service?
No. Yeah. So unfortunately, I do not know how to change tires. I have never used the tire changer to change the tire. I know how to dismount a tire from flat tires, right? I know how to dismount from a tire. I know how to change a spare tire. But if you ask me to change a new piece of tire onto the rims, I haven't tried.
Okay. Interesting. And when it comes to you furthering studies, how did you choose the course that you want to study at that time? And by that time, are you thinking about whether I might one day come back to the family business?
This is a very interesting question you ask. So to think back, so I haven't really thought about coming back since young. So when I was young, I always know that my mathematics and my sciences are not bad in school, right? So then being very naive, I would just ask my teacher that at that time, right, when I was almost choosing my specialization, I asked my teacher, I think I better be an engineer, because my strength is in my mathematics and sciences, right? So I asked her, I say, which engineer earns the most? Then she told me chemical engineer. And then I set my mind, I say, okay, let's just go and do chemical engineering.
Right.
So that was how I chose my specialization, my degree, that my parents don't influence me about the choice. I think they were quite encouraging. They're like, if you like it, you go ahead.
Okay. How was the university days? You enjoy it? Any fond memories during that period?
Yeah. Of course. I think even started when I was in Polytechnic in Singapore, right? So after secondary school, I decided that I think I already know what I wanted to do. So I did chemical engineering in the Polytechnic. Interesting. I don't know. I think I'm a very curious person. If you throw me anything, right, I will just dive deep inside, try to make the best out of it. I wouldn't run away. So, I mean, even today, if you ask me to go to a medical school, I think I still can make it. Yeah, because I'm someone, if I've decided that I want to do it, right, I will just try all my best to make it work. So chemical engineering was tough. I think it's one of the toughest engineering to do in a degree, because you basically need to know all the aspects of engineering. You touch a bit on mechanical, you touch a bit on electrical, you need to do chemistry. And at that time, biotech was quite popular. So we have to do bio as well, biology, as part of the curriculum. So I would say it was quite tough. Then after that, I moved on to Australia to further my studies in Melbourne.
Have you thought of just staying there?
Yeah, many times. Yeah.
What makes you decide to come back?
At that time, I thought it was very fun in Australia, to be honest. The life there is easy. It's, carefree. But first of all, it was I think another crisis again. It was the 2009 crisis when I graduated. I tried to find a job in Australia to extend my visa, but didn't manage to.
Right.
Then I decided maybe I should come back to Singapore.
What's next for you? What was your plan at the time?
Very interesting. So when I came back to Singapore, I started job hunting. I sent out tons of resumes, but no replies at all. So my uncle actually asked me, hey, why don't you just come and help me part-time? So I went back, did a business proposal for him for some new projects. And meanwhile, I was looking for a job.
Right.
Yeah. At that time, I really wanted to hone my chemical engineering skills, right? So I was quite reluctant to stay at the company to help. So although I was helping him with some projects, right, I still tried very hard to look for a job outside. So I job hunted for close to 6 months before I found a job.
Okay. And so you were part-timing for the family business?
Yeah, family business in Singapore.
And then you found a job. How long were you working in your new job? What did you find?
So I found a commercial role at an industrial gas company.
Okay.
Yeah. Then, although it wasn't my first choice, my first choice has always been I want to be at the chemical plant, right? Because that's where the action are. But the commercial role, it's not bad. So it is a chemical company, like industrial gas. So I decided to jump in and, just, it was commercial role, BD, but was involved also in from the front to the end of the projects, right? So
To understand the process.
correct. I have to understand the processes, even down to the business processes. Yeah.
How long were you at the job for?
I was there, so Air Liquide is a French company. I worked there for 3 years. Yeah. It's very interesting. I think that part of my life, right, molded me a lot. I had a very good mentor, I must say, my ex-boss. And basically, when I went in to fill that vacant position, there was a lot of projects coming in. So I have to jump in very fast.
Okay.
Yeah, there was no time for me to be prepare myself and all that. So jump in straight away. Need to go for contracts. Yeah. Then someone left again. I have to take up some position. So basically, at that 3 years, right, I was able to see a lot of things. I was doing BD. I was doing key account management. I was doing a bit of project management as well. So that time they wanted to build a new plant. So I was involved in the project as well. Yeah. So that part of so chemicals, back to the chemical engineer part, right? We actually also need to do some financial engineering not financial. What do you call that?
You need to do financial analysis.
Analysis. Sorry. Analysis.
Understand the return.
Correct.
On building the plant,
Correct.
right? Okay,
So then the most interesting was the last part of my project, right? Was to build a plant and then to do the financial analysis, including the engineering side of it. So I had the oversight of the whole project. It was quite a big project for the company, and then we have to go to the board in France to present our case and all that. So I was very fortunate. I'm a very young engineer. And because all my seniors left, right, I have to take over the project. And my boss entrusted me a lot, but he was there to guide me. So I had a lot of exposure within that 3 years.
Okay. Well, it seems like a very good experience and it give you a lot of opportunity, and I'm sure it boosted your confidence in your ability to do a lot of different variety of things also. But why did you end up choosing to leave the company, or did something
So
happen?
at one point, because there were so many changes, right? I think a lot of things that the bosses promised, right, wasn't, executed in the end, because they change management on quite a frequent basis, like every 2-3 years, change of direction, change of management. I wasn't shortchanged. I was still there. What struck me was when my mother called me one day, because I haven't went home for about close to 3 or 6 months. I was working from Monday to Sunday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. I was also the social club committee treasurer then in the company. I haven't went home for a few months. So my mom called me one day and said, "Are you okay?" I say, "I'm sorry, I just, need to work." Yeah. So I was the first to reach office every day. I was the last to go home every single day for, I think, close to 6 months, because the project deadline was very, very tight.
Right.
So I thought I had a mini burnout.
Oh, right. Okay.
Mini burnout then.
Okay.
At, I think I was 27,
Right.
27, 28.
After 3 years of
After 3, yeah. So
life, right?
correct. So my mom called me and I was thinking maybe I should have a serious thought, about this. And just nice, my cousin and my brother came and talked to me during that period. But my project was almost ending. So we submitted everything. It was a goal from the board that the project will go on. Then my cousin and my brother actually spoke to me, not because they know I was working so hard, right? They thought first my father is getting old, then they say, if we want to really expand the company, right, we will need more hands. So I met up with my brother. I laid a bit of my conditions, why if I come back, what do we want to do? I think so. The condition was if I come back, we need to expand. We have to be given full trust and responsibility to be able to grow the company. So I think my brother kept up to his promise, and also then that was.
Let's explore that a little bit, right? Because you say that you went into this work. A lot of your senior quit, and then you end up with a lot of responsibility. But I guess it's also a little bit of your drive inside yourself that you're willing to put yourself into this situation where you don't mind working for such a long hours at such a long stretch and taking over other people's job without. I assume for most of us, if that's the case, there will be a little bit of mental imbalance, and we'll feel that. Why should I be doing so much work? And that's not really the case for you. Have you explored that? Why do you think you have such a strong drive inside you?
I don't know. Maybe it was because I haven't really got a job for 6 months, and that really made me want to make sure I work very hard for my thing, right? And also, like just now I mentioned, ever since young, I'm very, very curious about how things works. And when I dive into something, I think I really shut off what is other distractions. So I think during that period, I told myself, I don't know what is in for me in the future, but I want to learn as much as possible. Yeah. So whenever I was given something, right, I just, if I can, I'll just take it and, and learn as much as possible.
Right. Okay. And then you have this discussion with your brother and your cousin who were already in the business at that time.
My brother was in the business, but my cousin wasn't yet.
Okay.
So my brother talked to my cousin.
He was trying to mass recruit
Correct.
everybody.
Correct. He was trying to mass recruit. Yeah. So that's why he spoke to the two of us.
I see. So when you lay down your condition, why do you think that you feel that the company need to expand for you to feel there's a need for you to come back? Or is there a particular direction that you see the company going at that time? Or maybe you lay down what was the company like at the time, and then what do you see that you want to improve on? Where was the issue here?
During that time, although I'm not in the company, what I see from an outsider's point of view then was that I think we need to corporatize. I think that's the number one thing. We need to have professional managers from outside. Because for me, I went through the corporate world. I have a short 3 years view on how things should be done. For me, my mindset was I need to come in. If I want to come in, right, I want to expand the business. If I come in and just to maintain the business, it's not something that I'm interested in. But I think that was also from my brother. I say if you guys are coming back, right, then let's have a plan to grow the company. Yeah.
And at that time, which are the key areas that you feel that has potential to grow?
At that time, actually, we were only distributing in the southern part of Malaysia.
Right.
So like Malacca, Johor, and that's about it. And I thought the potential in KL, in the north, and all these are, even bigger, right? Yeah. So, and I do think that we have a good team of people, our staff with us. So I thought hey, why not give it a try? Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So in our industry, after I went in, right, I realized there were a lot of Johor companies wanting to expand, but most of them have failed. So being the person who doesn't like to lose, right? So I thought, maybe let's do it. Okay. Let's try. And
it's a challenge.
It's a challenge for me and for our generation.
Okay. And so at that time, HT Group was main in the distribution business of motor oil, tires as well. And also you have your chain of retail shop as well. Correct. So you're seeing that this could potentially be a nationwide potential.
Correct.
Right. And so when you joined in, what was some of the key, problem or challenges that you're seeing? Which one you tackle first?
I always believe people will help us in our business. So the first thing I went in was to really get to know every single one that works for the company, really from the foreign worker that we hire to our key managers. Yeah. So I do spend a lot of time with them. I try to go on weekends as well to really get to know them. So the first challenge, I must say, is Bahasa Malaysia. Yeah, it was quite tough for me. Although my Bahasa is not good, still not good today. I think I am able to converse with them in a very people will still understand me. So my staff will still understand me. I can still understand them.
Right.
That is the first challenge. Of course, the second one would be, a lot of managers has been with my father and my uncle for many years. Change them to lead in a new direction, right? Sometimes it takes a while. Yeah. And it takes, everyone is looking at you and see whether, whether this person can perform, right? When you first come in. So that was, I think, one of the biggest challenge that I had when I went in.
I see. And when you joined the company, were you the division that you are working on is on the retail side?
Retail, correct.
Side.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and the plan was also to expand the retail business nationwide as well.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I see.
So, yep. I think I went in, the first project, the first role was really taking care of retail. So I reported to my uncle, initially. So
Lay the ground for us a little bit. So right now, because the business started from your grandfather, and now the key management is your uncle generation and your father.
Yep.
How many brothers and sisters is there working in the company at that time?
7 of them. So 4 in Singapore, 3 in Malaysia.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. And is there a structure of how they structure each of their role, or is more of it naturally evolve into the role?
Yes. Okay. So my uncles are all aunt. And they are all divided into the different businesses. So retail, distribution by products. We do have some family members who take care of the back end, which may be HR or finance, or logistics. Yeah, that was how they divided their role.
Right. Okay.
So when I went in, I reported to my uncle. So we're not supposed to report to our own father. I think that was the unspoken rule that we had.
Right.
Yeah. So my cousin reported to my eldest brother. Yeah.
I see. Okay. So both you and your cousin
We went in together.
Went into the
At the same time.
during that time. HT Group was led by your father lah, at
Correct.
that time. What's the one key pain point rather than you talk about the difficulty of the language, and then when you're now trying to expand, what are some of the shortfall that or challenges that you face, and do you start to understand why some of the other Johor companies wasn't able to expand outside?
I think it takes a lot of perseverance and immersing yourself in a new market. That time when we decided that we wanted to go to KL, first KL, right? My brother actually volunteered. My brother volunteered to a station himself in KL. That time his kids were still very young. So he volunteered. So we say, okay, why not you go ahead? Whatever is in Johor, right? Me and my cousin will take turns to help you look after the business. So he really stayed there for close to 2 years, set up the team. Yeah, I think that was what a lot of companies did not do. So they thought by hiring someone, just putting someone there, then things will run. So my brother, he went there. I think although KL is very similar to us, right? I think he immersed himself there for a while and really understand a lot of details in the market. Yeah, that was the foundation for us, I must say.
So you were successful in expanding at least to the Klang Valley, and then what? This was during what year was this?
About 10 years ago.
And everything was going generally smoothly, and you guys are very hands-on expanding the business, and then the pandemic hits, right?
Correct.
Can you talk me through a bit, especially as for like a retail business and a business that depends on people traveling here and there? When everything was shut down, what happened to the business?
Okay, it came as quite a shock to us when we heard from the news that the borders are closing on the 15th March.
Yeah.
Correct, 2020. So we didn't have much time to react. When we saw the news, I decided that I told my wife, I said, hey, I need to come in and settle things. So on the 15th, I came in. I gathered all my key managers to come back. I think the key message to them is, I told them this is the first time ever, right? We're going to face this. And I told them I will walk this through with you guys. But I will go back to Singapore. But I told them I trust you guys a lot. You guys have been with me for many years and you guys know me. So first, I think it's the trust. I told them, whatever happens, right, the company will use all its resources to stabilize things and also be with you guys all the way. But I don't know how long we will be closed for. I told them, first thing, everyone has to have open communications. We have to keep our lines open in case of anything. Yeah, so that was the first thing. Second thing I was concerned was security. I told them to, run through everything again, go back to your shops, whatever needs to be locked up or, clear up and all this, right? Please do it. Make sure all our CCTVs are working, our alarms are working. So that was the preparation done. Then head back to, I actually called the embassy and just make sure, can I leave after 12?
Right.
Because I was still trying to tie out some ends, right? So the embassy confirmed that if I'm a Singaporean, I will be able to go back after
12 a.m.
12 a.m. So it was a mad rush. A lot of people was trying to go back.
Yeah.
Because Malaysians were not allowed to go back to Singapore after 12.
Right. Okay.
But we read on the news that Singaporeans will be allowed to come back.
Right.
Regardless. So I had to double confirm with the embassy just to make sure I can go back to my family. So then I told my parents, I said, I don't know how long this will be, please stock up some stuff. We did stock up some stuff for my family. We stocked out some stuff for the foreign workers as well. So I left at about, I think 1 or 2 a.m. back to Singapore.
Right. Okay.
To join my family. So we set up all our group chats on WhatsApp. Whoever is in charge of security, whoever is in charge of cash flow, whoever is in charge of the HR department, then the marketing, right?
Right.
Okay, so then went back to Singapore. Singapore, I think, shut down 1 or 2 weeks late. Close to 2 weeks later. So I was at home enjoying myself for the first 2 weeks. I thought sounds like not too bad. Take a break, right? I don't have, for the first time ever, right? I did not have to travel past the causeway.
Right.
So when I was young, I go from JB to Singapore to study.
Yeah.
Then after I graduate, I come back to JB to work because my family is in Singapore. So that period was really the first time that I did not have to use the causeway, and I can get to work, fine. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. It is amazing that you make the whole company go remote in such a short time. But the reality is still that all the retail shop has to close and basically went to zero revenue, in an instant. Did you have to make quite drastic decision, like laying off people or any of that sorts to stabilize the business?
Okay, so after first 2 weeks of lockdown, right, I think we were quite clear that this is not going to end so soon. So we actually laid down all our cash flow. We talked to some of our suppliers to track some of payments. We also talked to some customers and see if we can get all the payments in. So we did that, the first thing. Then our finance manager updated us on a daily basis how much we were spending, how much reserves do we still have. The first thing we did cut was, of course, the overtime. So most of our retail worker depend, I think, close to 10% of their income from overtime. So that one was cut. And of course, their commission and incentive was cut. Yeah. So, but basic pay we did not. Yeah, all the allowances and the basic pay we continued to give them. So, we did not have to do a lot of drastic change.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
It struck me that it seems that the business has always been running at quite a prudent management, so that your cash reserve was strong enough to weather you through this period. Was that always the kind of culture that you have been instilled, like to have a strong balance sheet? Because like you said, HD Group is in the distribution and the retail business is quite capital intensive. How were you guys able to instill such a discipline in financial management in the group?
I think it started when it was the Asian financial crisis 1997, right? When my uncles and my father went through that. Since then, they have always been very prudent.
Right.
And even up to the date when we joined the company, right, they were still reminding us about the 1997 financial crisis. So we were definitely very careful. Yeah. And we were also lucky because most of the properties that we were operating in, right, were owned by us.
Right.
So that one really helped. I mean, if I have rented most of my shops, right, then I would have, need to close some of the shops. So during the pandemic, we did close one. That was a rented unit. Yeah. So that one was tough because we just set it up like less than a year. Then COVID struck. We really weren't able to maintain that. So we decided to, just pay out the rest of the lease and then just move away.
Okay. But did you guys did a calculation like how long if this thing drag on, you guys gonna have serious trouble in your business, or would that's that kind of worst case scenario?
Yes,
Plan?
yes,
Yeah.
of course, we did. Surprisingly, we can last for a few years.
Okay. That's still good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very good to know. I guess it put everyone mind at ease. So of course, the COVID did last a few years, on and
Yeah.
off, right? On and off. But then it reopened. How was things after the reopen? Like, do you suddenly see a resurgence in business, or did anything change in the way your business will run after the pandemic?
I think one thing changed was how we arrange for workers to move around different branches in the past. Always in the past, when there's someone on MC, then they will try to arrange for someone to go over. So during the pandemic, right, I think I realized, my supervisors realized, my managers realized that they can be more efficient. So they have worked with, during the pandemic, sometimes, we only to be able to work with half the strength. There was some period, right? Only half the employees were only allowed to work, right? And we realized during then, right, even with half the people working, our business did not drop half. I think everyone realized that they have the potential to do more, and we just have to push ourselves a little bit more, and we can achieve a lot more. So I think that changed a lot of mindset, even when at my mechanic level, right? Yeah, in the past, I think they will say, no, I'm short of worker. I cannot do so much, right? But after COVID, I think a lot of them realized that actually we can do it. It's just how everyone has to work together to do that just 5-10% more.
I see.
Yeah, that changed the mindset of a lot of people.
That's actually a positive.
Very positive, very positive. And also how we can work remotely. We were forced to, take up a lot of video conferencing. A lot of trainings were done online. In the past, we thought trainings can only be done physical, right? But then a lot of trainings were actually done online now.
Yep. Okay. Now I want to spend maybe a little bit time to understand the structure of HT Group, especially as a family business. And I'm really quite amazed every time you tell me how you were managing the business with such a big family on your father's side, about 7 siblings, and then now transitioning to the 3rd generation as well. And then you say more or less you have transitioned to the 3rd generation as well. Talk me through how is there a structure, like you plan it out? When, say, for example, if someone want to join the business, what's the criteria right now for them to join the business? Or is all family members welcome? And how do you structure that?
I think we have reached a point where currently it's more of a by invitation only. Yeah. And before we had, because now there are 9 of us, the 3rd generation in the business. I think we're almost there. Of course, the more the merrier. We can definitely put in more people. I think now what the new us have to realize is we do have a lot of professional managers in with a lot of experience, very capable people, right? So I think the criteria now is really you have to prove yourself. Work outside for a few years. What are your expertise? What can you contribute to the company, right? And also, we hang out a lot, actually. We do meet up all our cousins and family very regularly. So we know what each other is doing. So whenever we think we need people in, right, then we will do a session of talk with them, So I have coffee with my cousins, trying to prep them to come back and all that. I've done it before.
Right.
Yeah, my younger cousins. So that is how we work now. to invite more family members back.
And what could be their expectation when they are invited to join the business? Like the role for them is to one day lead a division or to help expand a new business for you guys?
Yes. So usually when we invite is we do have we know projects are coming in and we know we need a hand there, right? So we will bring I'll bring the cousin in, tell them there's this opportunity coming and we just need someone to lead and we'll be guiding from behind. Yeah, but he has to be ready to get the hands dirty. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And but in the case, because you're mixing family and business together, I wanted to understand, surely, even as a family, right, my family, even without business, there is going to be conflict. So how do you go about conflict resolution within the company?
So far, if you ask me, conflict has been resolved through really just communication, if you ask me. The good thing is we grew up together, we played together, we have fought together before. So that helps. I think the foundation of being
Trust.
the trust is there. And we all have agreed that once you are taking care of this part of the business, right, you have the final say. That one helps. And we do meet up for new projects, or we do meet up quarterly to update each other on our progress and performance of each division and company we handle. So everyone has a say, but the final say comes from the person leading it after hearing all the comments and the views and the opinion. Unless someone really feels otherwise, we don't do the direct confrontation. We will call for a meeting and say, I have this view, let's vote. So usually it's done through this way.
Okay, you still resolve it within your generation. Would you seek the elders to make the decision?
So far, not yet. We usually reach a consensus before moving on to them, because now they still, in a way, control the fundings if we need more fundings, because they are still holding on to the main holding company.
Right. I see. Okay. Wow, that's a fascinating structure that you guys have. How would it look like when the fourth generation comes in? Do you foresee any big changes that you guys still need to work on before you can even expand, from 7 family to 9, that you're gonna be 27 soon?
To be honest, no. Because we're still in a very initial state of transitioning to the third generation, right? My personal view is we may have to really let professional run in the future. What we can do now is really to get ready for it. Another thing we're doing is really to the values, right? How do we pass on the same values to the next generation? Is we spend a lot of time together. Yeah. So we know each other so well. I know all my cousins' kids, my brother's children are all in touch with me. We do talk and all that.
Right.
So I think that is what we're preparing for as well. Of course, one day I wouldn't say it will be passed down to fourth generation, definitely. But that is one of the preparation I think we're doing. Yeah. There are a lot of ways, I think, to preserve this legacy, right? So we have also explored how we can get professionals to come in and all that.
Have you considered IPOing the group?
Oh yes, that's definitely one of the options. One of the options that we have talked about. But right now, we don't think we need that yet, because we can still grow at our own pace.
Interesting. For most part of running a family business, and especially having to come into a stage where you have to help expand the business and bring it to new heights, and also at the same time protect the legacy of the past generation.
Yeah.
Do you feel a lot of pressure from that, or what do you talk to yourself? What are you trying to achieve?
Okay, yes, the pressure is definitely there. I must say I do get mini burnout once a while, but over the years I've learned to manage this, even sometimes with disagreements in the board and all that, right? I have, learned meditation. I still do my regular walks and runs if I can. Of course, holiday helps once a while here and there.
What is your key purpose right now? Like in the business, what's your personal direction that you want to see that you achieve?
Okay, so because since young I grew up with my grandparents, right? So from the constitution, of the company, you can see how my grandfather think about why he wanted to start this business. When he started the business, I think first of all, he wanted a basic education for all my father and uncles, right? And also to enable us to really feed the family. So for me, it's very simple as well. I think whatever I built, we built today, right? I just want to protect the family as long as possible in terms of education, in terms of healthcare. I think that is just my goal. So we do spend a lot of all this time talking about how we want to preserve these for what we want, right? So I think the consensus is really just education and health. So I think this is the direction we will go.
To make sure the family is taken care of.
Make sure the family is taken care of.
Right. Interesting. Key characteristics, when I talk to a lot of business leaders and founders and key thought leaders, is that they have this attitude that they are not afraid of failure, right? And even if they fail, sometimes it's, I wouldn't say easy for them to bounce back, but they have this resilience to bounce back. And I definitely see that in you, right? Because you go into a degree that you might not know about, and it's very, very difficult. One of the hardest engineering topic to learn. You go into this job when there's no seniors to teach you. You learn on the job, and you come back and help to expand your family business, even though it's uncharted territory.
Yeah.
Do you feel this attitude is innate in people, or is something that you learn from experience, or it's something that you can learn?
I think it's not innate in human. If you ask me, I really feel it's the childhood, the whole journey that I went through, right? Of course, there are ups and downs. I'm fortunate to have seen a lot of ups and downs in people who are close to me, people who share stories with my parents. Like I say, I'm very curious. So I like to, what happened to this uncle? What happened to this business? Yeah. So that was how I think my whole, this helps, I think, the whole journey. And the exposure of my parents have given me the space they have allowed me to grow, right? I think that helps a lot. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And I wanted to maybe expand that and to check with you, because the charter of the company is really to help out the family and make sure the family is well taken care of and everything. What are some of the things that you feel is important for you to teach your kids right now? And when you're talking to them, do you talk to them about the business? Do you talk to them to create business mindset in them? What are some of the key lessons that you hope you can teach your kids?
For me is, when I grow up, my parents don't really, I have really like the free way of how I want to be myself, right? I hope I can continue that, but it's not easy in today's world. I think like people will be like, oh, why is this person doing this? And then you start to compare and all that. I always remind myself not to. I think that is the most important. But I do expose them. I will talk to them, what did I do in office today? Or sometimes when I clinch a deal, I'll just tell them that I'm very happy. Yeah, because I'm always, I'm travel quite a lot now. So when I come back, I'll tell them what I have done. And I will try to send them messages about I did and when they talk to me about wanting to earn money and all that, I do share with them, what are the ups and downs. Yeah.
I know you're just at the beginning of this journey with HT Group and with your family business, but you have also come quite a long way.
Yeah.
When you look back, is there any key regrets you feel along the way? Or if you meet yourself at 18 or 20 again, is there something that you hope to remind yourself before you go through this journey again?
Actually, okay, no regrets. I would say no regrets in whatever I've done so far. But if I were to go back when I started this journey, when I joined the family business, I would say pace yourself. Like life, right? This is a marathon, not a sprint. Initially, when I, being young, I always try to push a lot of things. So for the first 5 years, I would say, Yeah, I overworked myself, I think. So there was one time I had to slow down and was lucky because my firstborn was out. Then that naturally slowed me down for a while. Then I started to appreciate, actually you don't have to do everything today. There are times, there will be time for you to do something, yeah. So that I will remind myself to pace out.
I think that leads very well to my last question to you, which is at this point of your life, when you think of I want to be successful, what does that success means to you?
To me, success, I think, really cannot be measured in any way. I love being around people, so I would say if I'm able to influence people around me positively, right, then I think I would have succeeded. So I do work with a lot of blue-collar workers, right? So I hope whatever my experiences, my journey I share with them and influence them, right, can really lead them to a better life. That I think pretty much is really my success indicator, because we were never taught you need to earn billions of dollars to be successful. So that money definitely is not an indicator for me.
Having a positive impact on the people that you meet, that you have a chance to have interaction with, give you more fulfillment.
Correct. Really, it really gives me more fulfillment that people trust me and work with me, rather than I clinch a deal and there is a dollar amount that is put on the table, right? I think that is more important for me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for all your sharing. I really appreciate it. And we have been speaking with the MD of Hock Tire, part of the HT Group. Thank you so much, Hsing.
Thank you, Stanley. Thank you.